Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of LFC Transfer Room. It's a Saturday night club, and it's been a good day for Liverpool. In it, by all accounts, it could have been a little bit better if Wolves could have kept their discipline, but we'll go into that a little bit later. I'm Richie. I'll be your host tonight, and I'm joined. Thankfully, you don't have to listen to me the whole time. By Stitches, Anil, and West is in the background, and I'll join him in a moment. But how are we, lads? A good day, really. While I bring in West, Stitches, I'll come over to you.
Yeah, it's sorry, I took a moment to process what you were saying there. Yeah, it is a good day. It is a very good day. It's always a good day when the Reds win. So I'm majorly pleased by the result. I'm majorly pleased by the performance. Yes, it's Ipswich Town and they are letting in a shed load of goals at the moment, but you know, we again professional performance, got the job done, got the early goal. And yeah, very pleased with a lot of the performances that were given. Bit of a Debbie Downer, but we conceded a goal. But when you're four up with the amount of changes that we made, it's acceptable. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, happy days. And as you already mentioned, unfortunately, Wolves couldn't get the job done. They had one job, just one job. Yeah, and they were playing against 10 men until they decided to even things up by getting one of their own sent off as well. But yeah, great day, great results. Nottingham Forest getting spanked 5-0, you know, which I think pretty much takes them out of the title race, in my opinion. But yeah, Arsenal still clinging on the precipice with their fingertips. But good day for Liverpool, all in all.
Yeah, it was. It was a good day, and again, a bit of a shock, really, that Bournemouth result that we'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, we'll go through everything Liverpool. So, Anil, how are you? Is this your first time, by the way, on the Saturday Night Club? West is a regular. West and I are best mates now on Saturday nights. You know, we just hang out with each other. But Anil, is this the first time for you?
Yeah, first time on Saturday night. No, normally, I felt like a bit of a rush as well after the Chelsea City game, just to come up and get on stream. But all good, all good. Happy day today. Liverpool won. That's the main thing. We're completely dominant from start to the end. I think up to like 85th minute, Ipswich didn't get into our half. So it's a really good performance. Like I wish we were playing more like this, and we have more wins like that. So can't ask for anything more, really. The whole team played really well. I thought Trent was world class today, and the midfield was incredible. Szoboszlai, the energy, work rate, top player, and he's scored a good goal as well. So if you add the goal to his game, like, you know, fucking world class, that is world class. So yeah, I'm really happy, very happy. Like you said, a bit of a shame about Wolves. They were doing all right. I think they would have had it if they didn't get that player sent off. So, you know, it's just one of those, and the main thing is we won. And yeah, next weekend going to be a tough one for Bournemouth. Looking good.
Yeah, they are looking very, very good. And Stitches is also a regular on the Saturday Night Club as well. We enjoy hearing about you boy as well, Stitches. So give us an update at the Palace Academy later. West, how are you? You okay?
I'm good, lads. I'm good. I'm fantastic. I said yesterday in the yesterday's stream, get the early goal, and we're gonna enjoy our weekend. And I was happy with it too. I was disappointed about Arsenal, but then I couldn't care less. I said yesterday, just win your games. Also, I want to follow. They didn't look good. I watched Liverpool, and then I went to Arsenal, so they weren't that convincing. But then yeah, I'm happy about the boys, and I hope you all guys are all good.
Yeah, we're all good, thanks. I actually didn't watch Arsenal. I did watch the red card, and we'll talk about that a little bit later because it did look a little bit harsh. Wes, let's talk about the early goal then, because that really, for me, that was huge. Like you couldn't have got a better start. And I looked at the lineup, and you know, I said earlier they're playing 5 at the back with 2 CDMs. They were happy to sit Ipswich, and you know, rightly so after a 6-0 loss and an absolute mauling to Manchester City the other day. So again, that early goal was vital. I will ask though, accompanying that question is, you don't have a straw, and normally you do have a straw. That's how well I know you. Where's the straw? And how big, Stitches, was that early goal?
Yeah. Look, the early goal. I think I think we're all traumatized. We've got some PTSD, and that
Mm.
PTSD arises from the fact that we're used to playing low block teams, 2 banks of 4, and then we struggle to break them down. And then they go on a counter attack and they get a sneaky goal, and then it's just, you know, all of a sudden, no matter how well we played, it becomes a terrible performance. And what that early goal does is it just settles the nerves. It takes the pressure off. It allows the boys to play with freedom. I echo what Anil said in regards to, you know, Trent's performance. He was outstanding today, in my opinion. I thought Szoboszlai was absolute quality as well. And that early goal just shows what I believe he can do. And I mentioned, look, a lot of podcasts ago, I said, look, this is quite new for Szoboszlai in terms of the role that he's been asked to play. The instructions are different. What is expected of him is different. And to me, he looked like a player that was playing at the beginning of the season like he was learning the role. It wasn't completely free. It didn't just flow. It was kind of like, oh, I should be making a run now. Oh, I'm in this area. What do I do? Do I pass or do I shoot? And now I feel like he's absolutely nailed it. He's learned what the role is, and he seems to be playing with an additional freedom. So we still have the work rate, we still have the engine, but the runs are a little bit more natural. The positions he takes up are a little bit more natural. He's getting into situations where he's like, yeah, I'll have a shot here. Or look, I might play a reverse pass instead. Why? Because he's comfortable in his own skin. So I think these are the things that I'm seeing. These are the things that I anticipated that we would start to see with this team as they were connecting. So the early goal from him was so important. And the fact that he's now seeming to score game after game and he's contributing, which is key as we go into the business end of the season. So yeah, absolutely terrific in terms of settling the boys down, taking the nerves away. And at Anfield, I know sometimes when we're pushing and we're pushing and we're pushing and we haven't got that goal, it could get a bit antsy. And I think that really, you know, settled the crowd down, got the fans singing, you know, really built the atmosphere. And I think these are all great things. Yeah.
Where's your straw?
Well, not today. I haven't had a chance to grab one. We've run out.
I was going to say, normally it's a straw.
Yeah,
normally it's a straw in the cider, isn't it, mate?
Yeah,
So,
it is absolutely. We've run out. Got to send the missus out to get some.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you can get the straws from Tesco. Anil, I mean, Stitch has alluded to it as well, and I thought Szoboszlai was so impressive because he has come under fire recently, and you know, by myself, and I'm sure by you guys, and by a lot of the Liverpool fans, and Arne Slot himself as well, saying that, you know, his numbers need to improve in terms of goals and assists. He is a pressing machine. I thought he played very, very well today, and that's the Szoboszlai. And again, Stitcher said quite rightly, you know, it's the moments where he shoots, he looks confident. I saw someone actually on Twitter, and I'd love to reference him, but I can't remember who it was. And they said that he looks now like the player that when he shoots, he's ready to score. Whereas, you know, in the past, he was blazing balls over and he was going wide. He wasn't quite connecting. Now he's connecting. And you know, we always want to see this Hungarian free kick machine. I know that probably Trent's maybe in line first, but, you know, we want to see Szoboszlai strike a ball. There was a beautiful bit of skill that he did just before the centre circle where he chested it, knocked it, teed it around the corner to Cody Gakpo. And I think everybody at that point was just like, oh my gosh, where has this player been? Now, that player's always been in there, but obviously it's the confidence and it's the fatigue that he obviously suffered, much like everybody else did, towards the back end of last season. So, Anil, I suppose what I'm asking is this Szoboszlai now under maybe a slot system where he's not being asked to run as much? And I know that he's a press machine and a press monster anyway. Is he still that player that he was when he first came in? Or do you think under Slot he's developed and he's evolved a little bit and now actually we're seeing the best of Dom Szoboszlai?
I think we are seeing the Szoboszlai before we came to Liverpool, and even in the first season with Klopp. But then I think, as Ditch is saying, we're trying to get used to the new way of playing with Arne Slot. So maybe for the first few months, that part of his game diminished a bit. But you know, he always had it in him. He's top talent. He's a top player. So I actually think him and Konate are probably two of the most talented players in that squad in terms of like the attributes and just being very gifted. Like Salvatore can do it all. Carney can score goals, and you got incredible work rate, his ability on the ball as well, like technical ability. So that's why, like, the start of the season, I think he's getting a lot of criticism because everybody thought that when he signed, this is going to be what we get, like someone who's scoring more, getting assists and things like that. And I think since like December, I think he's been probably one of the most important players, if not a most important player, because it's been phenomenal, really. And we have missed him. We have missed him as well when he was out for illness. So yeah, I'm very happy to see him perform like this, and just wanting to hope that he can keep it up now for the rest of the season. So as Slot said as well, he's been unbelievable, And what I find funny as well that he mentioned before the game about Konate, he needs to improve his ability on the ball, and he got an assist today. So it's almost like sometimes Slot can see things because he said something about Nunes as well, and then Nunes go and score 2 goals. So yeah, that's good to see as well because I think Konate, he got the ability to be as good as Van Dijk, if not better.
Yeah, and he registered an assist today, obviously, as well, Libu. So yeah, he was an absolute colossal at the back, and it's nice to see him getting a bigger run of games as well, injury free. I don't want to jinx that, but you know, he's obviously played a lot more games than he has done at the start of the season in previous seasons under Jurgen. So West, let's, I suppose, move on a little bit then to Mohamed Salah. He scored 19 league goals this season, his 40th goal involvement in all competitions. He's got 23 assists and 17 goals, which is absolutely like incredible, you know. And if there's anybody who I hope the contract actually gets over the line ahead of Van Dijk and Trent, I think it probably, for me personally, is Mohamed Salah. Just again, you know, he was going at a really good left back. I quite rate the Ipswich left back, Leif Davis. I think he's a good player, but he just had that confidence and that swagger. I think for me, he went through like a little bit of a rough patch over the course of a couple of games, but we're talking about a couple of games. You know, that's mad. He's still hitting the heights. He's still got 40 goal involvements in January. You know, how important is Mo Salah? And also, you know, how big was that goal? Because that wasn't an easy goal to take. We've seen lots of players blaze that over. So how big is that goal for Liverpool in the second, obviously the second goal, and how well was it taken by Mohamed Salah? You are muted, which is I'm quite glad you're muted because you are playing with a tub of Vaseline as well. So, you know, there is that too.
To be honest, like I know last week I was under Salah's criticism because I don't think he had a great game. But then for him to score, I think because now we have City around the corner, so I wanted him to get his confidence up. So I'm happy that he scored. Even the goal he took, like Salah takes these good goals. He has these good goals in him. So now when I see Salah, like I'm glad now he's starting to score because now City's picking up form, and I could touch on that later. I'm happy that Salah scored today. Like he saved my FPL. Also, but then I'm happy that he scored. He's getting his confidence back against Lille, against Ipswich, and then I'm happy that now he's taking on his defenders because Salah was in the past game. Salah was too predictable. He would like lock him up, but in this game I saw him like he was so confident in himself. He trusted himself. He started taking blows on. I'm glad that he's doing that, and I'm happy now it's starting up because now we have Bournemouth next. Let's see what he has for kickers. To be honest.
Yeah, and you know, I think the finish itself, Stitches. You know, you're a footballer yourself, and for him for me, it wasn't necessarily the finish; it was how he set himself up because he sees the ball late coming over from obviously from Cody, and he sees it late. I can't remember who gets up ahead of him. It might have been Diaz, but I can't remember who gets up ahead of him. Maybe it's the Bosley, but he brings it down, and on the bounce, he hits it right into the roof. Now that's such a difficult finish for him to do, especially on the angle that he was at too. You know, there was only really one place that he could have put it because the keeper spread himself really, really well. And if you're looking at it analytically, the keeper did absolutely everything. There is one place that Salah can put it, and that's above his head on his way down. So, you know, that finish was pretty special too. And also, he now goes above Thierry Henry for Premier League goals too.
Yeah, look, I can't say enough about Mo Salah, and it's baffling to me the marmiteness of this guy to people, because I actually think he doesn't get enough respect. I really do, and I get it. You know, aesthetically speaking, people want to look at people like Thierry Henry, who is outside of Liverpool players, my favorite Premier League player of all time. Absolutely love the guy and what he does. And there's a kind of swagger and suaveness to, or the va-va-voom, as they say, to the way Thierry Henry did things. And Salah may not be as aesthetically pleasing, but as a connoisseur of technique, right? When I see some of the stuff that Mo Salah does, like taking a 50-yard pass on the run without breaking stride to just go out and centre back, I don't think people, because he makes it look so easy, I don't think people appreciate the absolute level of quality or elite football that it requires and technique to be able to do something like that. In addition, the way he took that chance, as you said, one touch to control it, didn't give the keeper, the distance between control and finish was minute. And that's a really difficult thing to do in football. Normally people take a touch, they got to set themselves, they're thinking, and then they finish. It just done it instinctively, control, bang, goal. Keeper couldn't even do anything else. And I think that Mo Salah in that kind of form is frightening to any defense in the league, because it doesn't matter what they do, they just can't stop him. And I think going into some of the tougher games that we've got coming up, we mentioned Bournemouth, we know City's coming over the horizon. We're into the latter stages of the Champions League. You're going to need that quality, right? And I've seen some comments in the thing about it's not Salah FC. Of course it's not Salah FC. But every team, every great team has a great player in that team. And Mo Salah happens to be ours. So let's celebrate that. Why are we borrowing problems that we don't need to borrow? Salah on the clock played a very different system that required an immense amount of physical exertion to perform. I actually think on the slot, people talk about this mythical dip after January that he has because he's exhausted. I don't think that's going to happen this year, just because of the way that we control games, the way it's a little bit more less intensive on the body. There's no AFCON. He's had a full preseason. He absolutely takes care of himself. And he's just a player that you just play him. You just play him. If he's not injured, you just play him. I'm not saying don't give other people on the bench opportunities to come in, but speaking personally, he would be the last person that I'd take off. And that's not because it's Salah FC. That's just because he's such a talisman. That's like, for me, it's like saying, would you have taken off Steven Gerrard in his prime if you had no reason to? You wouldn't have done it. Would you take Van Dijk off if you didn't need to? No, you wouldn't, because these players transcend and actually stand for what we're trying to achieve. They are the bastions of the success that we're driving for. They set standards, and you need them to keep setting those standards. And, you know, I just, again, like I said, we don't need to borrow problems that we don't need to borrow. It's going well. It's being managed well. He's not going to play against Plymouth. There's going to be games where he gets taken off in the 65th, 70th minute. That's going to happen. I'm sure that the guys that work at the club, the data scientists, slot, they have a lot more data to make these decisions on. They know when he's in the red zone. So us sitting there saying, oh, we just need to take Salah off, we don't have the same information they do. They're operating with far more information than we have in order to be able to make those decisions. And I'm pretty sure they know when he needs to be given a breather and when he doesn't need to be given a breather. That's just my point.
I think with Salah as well, he's like a viper. He there's no wasted movement either.
Absolutely.
You know that and you mentioned the red zone, of course. Like, you know, we never think that really. We think, oh, okay, he looks tired, but actually they've got heart rate monitors on there. They've got the underbody stuff. And he's, like I say, he's like a viper. There's never any wasted energy. It reminds me, I'm not comparing him, please don't think that I am. But like, it reminds me of Messi in the World Cup, you know, where Argentina won the World Cup. And actually, if you looked at Messi, he was walking lots and lots of times. Even in the World Cup final, he was walking when the ball was out of possession, getting his oxygen levels back, getting the CO2 max back. and then he would strike. And Salah, he doesn't have to track back. I do think that Arne Slot has given him the freedom not to always track back, which, you know, works sometimes, works doesn't, with Trent there being so high up as well. But that's what Gravenberch's there for. That's what Konate's there for. But he has no wasted energy. And there was an opportunity for him to come off when we went 3-4-0 up for Fede Chiesa, and they decided to take off Gakpo and Diaz instead. You know, he could have easily took Mohamed Salah off when we're 4-0 up, but they are seeing things, like you say, that we're not. You know, his levels of fitness far surpass the likes of Gakpo and Diaz. Yes, on a 90-week basis, 90-minute week basis, but also a consistent 90-minute basis too. You know, it's just he's just a machine. You only have to look at him. He looks like freaking Zeus, doesn't he? You know, to know that. So yeah, I mean, I know it's not Salah FC. It baffles me that people say take him off. You know, when we need a goal, you wouldn't take off Ian Rush, you wouldn't take off Stevie G, you wouldn't take off Kenny Dalglish. You know, if you need a goal, he's your best outlet to find a goal.
Absolutely. And did you see where he tracked back today? Like, there was a point where Trent had gone on an overlap and he'd miscontrolled it and the player got it. You know, and Philogene picked it up and there was just space in front of him. And Mo Salah's motored and just got the ball back. Like, and I was just like, listen, this guy's levels of fitness, that was like something like the 60-something minute of the game. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't like he'd been on the periphery of the game. He'd been very involved. He'd been getting a lot of the ball, making lots of runs against the fullback, and he was still able to do that in the 65th minute. That just shows an elite level of fitness. And, you know, it's clear in terms of when you see him talk about how he looks after himself and the processes he goes through. Like, clearly, as I said, look, as fans, we think emotionally, and we think, you know, sometimes with just what we see with our eyes. These guys that operate in the club, they operate on a level with data and telemetry and, you know, insights that we're not even close to having. So when we make comments sometimes, I always kind of approach it from the opposite side to say, okay, let's assume that I'm right. Let's assume that I'm right. Why would they make the opposite decision? If everyone can see it and everyone says he's going to be tired and this, that, and the other, why wouldn't they think that? They must know something that I don't. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the conclusion. Unless you don't trust them, and you don't think they're very good at their jobs, you don't think they're elite at sports science, you don't think they do all the lactic acid tests, you don't think
have
they
all
know
of the measurements and
all
machines,
the measurements,
and
know
you know,
everything that we don't. But we sit there in our chairs or go to the stadium and think that we know everything because, you know, we see them on match day, but they see them every single day. They know what they've eaten. They know, you know, what weight he is. They know, you know, what recovery time he needs. They know all of this information. So all of that is involved in the decision making as to who comes on and who's available to play. And you know what I'm saying? I think we have to just trust that sometimes.
Yeah, and that's the reason why Fede Chiesa still hasn't played 90 minutes, you know, because they know his fitness levels. You know, it's the same reason why James Milner, when he was in his pomp, you know, he could play 90 minutes back to back because he was that fit, you know. So for me, yes, we do need a contingency plan. I think we've got that. I think we've got a couple of options now. I think that Diaz could go over to the right. I think Fede Chiesa can go on to the right as well if needed. But listen, while Salah's in his pomp, you absolutely play him. Anil, let's talk about another forward then, because I thought, and again, we mentioned the FPL earlier, I actually did transfer in Cody Gakpo for Solanke. And with 2 goals and assists today, he's on an absolute purple patch, you know, isn't he? You know, and again, listen, what's gone is gone. What's the past is the past. I think Jurgen Klopp is the best thing to happen to Liverpool Football Club for the past 30 years. But I do think that Gakpo should have always been that left winger. You know, he should have always been that left forward to Mo's right forward, because he's just so electric and he's just so he's so critical into what everything that Liverpool does. But he's an absolute goal scorer as well, isn't he? Like, how impressed were you with Gakpo today?
Yeah. Gakpo's he's been unbelievable this season. Since the first game he started in left wing. I think Gakpo, the player, probably don't get appreciated much because the attention's all on Salah. But what Gakpo has been doing, like some of the goals he scored have been massive, like the equaliser against Leicester, the goal against United, even though we drew the game. But he's been scoring these big goals as well. 14 goals all comps as well. That's respectable. It's a very, very good return. He's probably on track to getting 20 goals all comps the way he's performing. He can't ask for anything more. He's just been very, very, very good. Not just in terms of goals, but also assists. His link-up play, his ability to take players on, put balls in. The type of goal he's scoring as well. He's probably one of the best shooters on the ball as well. Like he's goal from range, gives us that extra weapon as well. So I'm more than happy with Gakpo. I think he's an unbelievable player, and probably been one of our better signings in recent years as well.
Yeah, and again, that's an opportunity that struck in January, wasn't it? I think it was Spurs. Was it Spurs or was it United? Actually, I think it was United after the rubbish World Cup that was. Who was perhaps going in for him. I think we nabbed Diaz from Spurs, it was. A great January signing and something that, Gakpo has done really well is that cutting inside, and he's going to do it, but you can't stop it. That ball from Trent today, how great was that ball too?
Unbelievable, amazing ball. And Gakpo, the kind of guy as well to get in the right positions. He got a good header on him as well. He knows how to do those type of headers, and so that's all good to see. That Trent can, Trent and Gakpo got that relationship now as well. That building, and Trent assisting Gakpo more. So really good stuff, man. Really good stuff.
Yeah, Abdul says Jota get injury and never fit. Gakpo is predictable and cutting into his right foot. Listen, however predictable it is, you can't stop him. It's irrelevant really, because so many teams have tried and failed this season to actually stop him. And I think that highlights the quality really. I think a lot of Cody's attributes work well in this team, and it works well with him cutting inside. But I also think there is a chance where Cody Gakpo comes inside, but he can also drop deep, like Diaz, and rotate together, West. You've gone and changed your top. I love that shirt. It's one of my favourites. My actual favourite is the one that Stitches is wearing. But yeah, I love that top as well. That's really cool. How impressed again were you from Gakpo?
Okay, I want to clarify. Here South Africa, it's very hot. So now I was changing shirts, I was sweating. That's why I was like, let me just wear the Liverpool one. It's calm and relaxed, because the other shirts, it's very hot in South Africa. So now the weather here is crazy. But then with Cody Gakpo, I was actually impressed with it, because now questions were asked about it. Let's be honest. The beginning of the season, we asked questions. Is he good enough to lead us? I remember last season, the United game, we got criticized about. They criticized him. Jamie Carragher said he breaks down our attacks. He's not that quick. And then you have him now, like turning up, like that in swing of his. To be honest, now I didn't see the fourth goal because I went out. So now I got back, but then I'm gonna check the highlights after here. But then like we call it Gakpo this season, like he's coming in clutch for us, and I'm kind of happy for him, because now I think he came under criticism, which was playing a wrong position. Klopp tried to pull him in the midfield. He tried to play him in the centre forward like a Bobby Firmino, and now he's playing his actual position left wing, which he's cutting in, scoring his banging goals, which I'm happy for him. So now with Cody Gakpo this season, he became really important for us, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so too. Did you know that Liverpool have now picked up more points, which is 26, and wins 8 at home in the Premier League this season than any other side? And today, this is what the bit that shocked me, was the first time they scored 4 goals in the league at Anfield. I was quite taken aback by that. Today is actually the only time this season that Liverpool have scored 4 goals at home. So again, it's one of those that it's not heavy metal football. It is very, very controlled. In terms of Trent Alexander-Arnold then, because I do feel like we have to talk about him. I thought he was one of the better players on the pitch, Stitches. And, I know all of this noise that's going around the contracts. Listen, just keep on playing like that, Trent. Listen, we all have our opinions on him. We're not going to go into the details about Real Madrid. We're not going to go into the details of the contract. But that was so much better from Trent today. And he has been a lot better since that woeful performance against Manchester United. But again, I do think it was a lot better performance today. FPL did give him an assist, and he was very, very close to a clean sheet as well. But he looked dangerous too.
Yeah, I'm so proud of Trent. Like, listen, criticism when it's due, right? And the only reason I'll ever criticize or you'll hear me be negative about a Liverpool player is if I suspect that, or you give me the impression that you're not trying. And that was my only gripe, right? I've tuned out of all the transfer and the contract drama. I'm not interested. Like, listen, I want to watch my team. Those who want to be here will sign contracts. Those that don't want to be here, thanks for your service, and they'll move on. That's my view. And Liverpool marches on. And so all of that is background noise. What I want to talk about is your performance on the pitch. And I've got to say, credit to the kid. Since the Man United game, his performances have just got better and better and better. It's like he's got a new focus. His head's on it. He's working hard. There's a bit of aggression in the way that he's pressing. He's trying to get back, working hard. And that's all we can ask for. If that Anfield faithful see you putting it in, week out, I think the level of criticism goes down. We stand by you. We defend you when the rest of the media is talking about you can't defend, you don't know how to tackle and all of that, because we see the effort that you're putting in. And as long as he keeps doing that, he's 100% got my support. And I've got to say, he was outstanding today. The link up between him and Salah, I think it goes understated. It's so good. The little passes that they make, little triangles, little movements, the amount of times they played 1-2s around players to get into space, to create overloads, to make that second man run into the penalty area at angle for the ball to just be played round the corner to get them to the byline. It's beautiful, but not enough gets spoken about in that regards. But today he needs his flowers, because the kid was amazing today. He was absolutely brilliant. And that's the Trent that I want to see. That's what I want to see. And when he plays like that, it does make it painful that he might be leaving us, because to replace that kind of quality, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. But we make superstars. We don't buy them. That's what we do at this club. So, long may it continue. I hope he keeps performing like that. And I'm absolutely enjoying it at this moment in time. Yeah. And, the confidence as well to take shots on more, because someone with his quality of ball striking and his technique really should be scoring more long distance goals. And I saw him take on a couple of shots today where I thought, why not? Why not? You're fully capable.
Yeah, hit the jam on toast, didn't he, as well? And then he obviously had the long ranger.
Yeah. So, very good.
Yeah, and Lassetti, pretty much hits the nail on the head there. Very good against mid-block and low-block teams. But at the start, I really liked what Slot did. There was a back five, two CDMs, essentially. And they just said, okay, Robbo, you're left centre-back. Virgil's in the middle. Konate's right centre-back. And Trent went into midfield. And that's the way that Liverpool really have to play, against the teams with the low blocks. Because Konate, I thought, looked like a prime Joel Matip at times, where he was actually getting the ball at his feet and he was looking for passes and spraying the passes, So that was really important. And I'm really glad that Slot's seen that now, because we have always struggled ever since I do think Coutinho left. We've always struggled against a low block and really unpicking that defense when people just sit back and let us attack. But today, with Konate going forwards, and like I say, just the tiny adjustment of Trent in midfield puts an extra body in there. Someone else has got to mark him, but he can ping a pass, he can ping a shot. And like I say, he was quite unlucky not to score today as well. So he did do extremely well. I loved the little nutmeg as well before the cross. I think if he would have had an assist when he had the nutmeg and the cross, that would have been absolutely sensational. Anil, I suppose we need to talk about the opposition today. We've mentioned Arsenal, who, they went down to 10 men. Very contentious decision. I would have been gutted if it went against me. Let's not try and sugarcoat it or get, too carried away with tribalism. I don't think it was a red card. And I think if it would have happened to us, we would have been gutted. Just on that notion, there absolutely, for Julio Enciso, should have been a red card today. I think if it wasn't 4-0, I do think the ref sends him off. A flying knee to the face of the Japanese warrior, that's a red card for me all day. Let's not sugarcoat it. If that Arsenal red is a red, There's no doubt that taking someone's head off their shoulders is also a red. But Anil, let's talk about Arsenal very quick because, you know, João Gomez didn't keep his head. I think Wolves will feel like, especially in a relegation fight, that's a massive opportunity lost for them. But Arsenal picked themselves up, dusted themselves off. They played very, very well in terms of, you know, managing the game. And when it went to 10 men, Calafiori pops up and makes the deficit, I suppose, 6 points with a game in hand, as we were. But it was a bit of a missed opportunity for Wolves.
Yeah, definitely. I think Wolves are playing very well as well. They're having chances. I think Cunha looked quite lively as well. So I think Wolves, if they didn't get that player sent off, they could have maybe even snapped the 3 points because that's the way the game was going. But you know, as you said, Arsenal probably shouldn't have a 10 men in the first place. So it was a bit of an unfair red card. And yeah, I don't know how Nkisco stayed on the pitch because I watched that back a few times. Like, yeah, it's just baffling really how he stayed on the pitch. But yeah, Arsenal, they're a good team. They're real competitors, ain't they? So not Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest obviously they got battered today by Bournemouth, but they were never really the title contenders. They're more pretenders, whereas Arsenal, they're a strong team. You know, and it's a massive 3 point for them. It's a tough away game against Wolves. I know Wolves are down there, but you know, it's never easy in the Premier League. Any game in the Premier League to go and win away. So it's a good result for them. But you know, we're still on top. We're 6 points ahead, game in hand, and they got to go against City, ain't they, this weekend? So hopefully City can do us a favour there. But yeah. So you know, it's in our hands, but it's definitely a big 3 point for Arsenal.
Jace, I played rugby 30 years. I can absolutely tell you, and I played at a good level. If you do that on the rugby pitch, you're also seeing red. There's no way. It's more MMA and WWE stuff, that is, I'm afraid. So yeah, unreal how it wasn't a red. West, thoughts then? I mean, you know, Anil already said, I thought it was an absolute shocking result for Nottingham Forest, the way that they've been playing, to get battered 5-0 against Bournemouth, a team who we obviously play, you know, in the next game week alongside Everton. That's going to be such a tough game. But it does maybe, and I'm not trying to be preemptive, but it might look like Nottingham's Forest race has ran.
You know, I agree with Neil. Like, they were actually pretenders. Like, they were they were not that team. They were just teams just to surprise us, just to say hello. They came to say hello, and then now they're gonna go back to where they were. It was like, as far as I was checking the score lines. It was 1-0, and then I went out. I got back home. It was 5-0. I was like, oh, okay. But then it's one of the ones where, like, first is a good team, have a good coach, but then they're not there yet. They finished the Champions League spot. If like they finished in Champions League spot next season, I'm thinking they're gonna chop off. I'll be honest, they were gonna chop off the following season. So now, not even first now. Like, Liverpool, this title is Liverpool's to lose. So now when I look at Forest and Arsenal, I just can't bother myself because I'm like, okay, they can drop points. Doesn't matter. First were bound to drop points anyways. Arsenal was the one where I had questioned where are they gonna drop points, or are they gonna go on the run, or are they gonna escape dead? And I look at Arsenal against City. I look at, like, City might be back in the title race next game. You never know, if I'm being honest.
I was going to ask Stitches this. Are City back in the title race? They're 12 points behind with a game in hand. I thought last week when they went 2-0 up against Brentford, I thought, oh man, here we go. The City juggernaut. Here we go again. Then obviously they conceded those 2 goals. Then they went 2-0 up against Paris Saint-Germain. I actually watched that game. I really wanted to watch the Celtic game actually, but I thought, I'll just flick this on for the second half. Went 2-0 up again. Thought, they're going to get back again. And then they got smashed 4-2. I think Chelsea should have capitalised on their early chances. Cole Palmer, when he passed to Jackson, he could have gone 2-0 up. I think it's a different story. But our City, just because who they are, just because that Pep juggernaut, they're they're just irresistible, irrepressible. They're just absolutely relentless. They're inexorable. You know, after January, are they back in this race?
No. Simply,
that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to hear.
No, they're not. I mean, I think I was looking at numbers, or we were discussing it in the group chat. They can win every single game between now and the end of the season and finish on 86 points. I don't think that's going to be enough to win the title this year. Bearing in mind, as you said, they're 12 points behind with a game in hand. Are they capable of putting on a run? In the past, I'd have said yes. But I still believe that this team is vulnerable. I still think that they're there for the taking. I think that results have gone their way and they are building up a head of steam. But I think that the best that they will be this season is kingmakers. And what I mean by that is that they will take points off Arsenal and they will take points off the chasing pack. And they may take a point off us. We may get a draw, you know, against them, but I just don't think it's enough because even that does not serve them. They have to win every single game between now and the end of the season. And you telling me they're not going to drop a point between now and then, knowing that they're not the same City as they have been in the past. They've dropped so many points already this season. I watched their games and I still think they're there for the taking if a team is brave enough and clinical enough to take the opportunities that they give up, because they're giving up chances. They are. They've got amazing firepower. By all means, they can hurt teams, but they can also be hurt. They can be got at. So, and so I think there's a vulnerability there that means that, no, for me, they're not in the title chase anymore, but they will influence the title chase. That's how I see it.
It's such a big game next week. That Arsenal City game is absolutely massive. I mean, ideally, I suppose we want a draw, don't we? Because, you know, that means that both teams drop points. And let's be honest, we've got a game in hand next week when we play Bournemouth and Everton. So even if we draw one of them, we're still on equal terms. Even if we get 1 point out of 6, you know, a draw for that Arsenal City game where they both drop points, we're a game, 2 games closer to the end of the league, and they're no closer to us. So that's the way that I see it. I don't see whatever happens out of those 6 points. If we get one of them, if they draw, that's all we need, you know, just to keep them at bay, keep them away, because, you know, that both of those teams, I don't think they got the firepower we have. They will both obviously still, I can see City beating Club Brugge and qualifying, which means they have an extra 2 games as well, you know, in the Champions League, and they'll absolutely want to go for the Champions League. I think Pep said, and again, you take what Pep says with a pinch of salt, but at the same time, you know, that's the competition they'll probably gun for the most. They're going to prioritise that because they could still win that. And Pep thinks that he won't win the league. So hopefully he'll prioritise the Champions League and not this Sunday, obviously. But I just can't, I don't know. I have a horrible feeling it's City.
I think they're going to beat Arsenal. I really do. I think there's so much animosity between those two clubs, that whole stay humble, the whole Arsenal playing victims because they were down to 10 men. I just think there's such a backstory there. The master and the apprentice, all of that. I just think it's going to be a temperamental game. And I think the City boys are going to be up for it, just to say, listen, you might be higher up than us in the league, but we are still City. And I think that actually for us, it probably suits us better that City wins. I think City winning is a better result for us, because that absolutely puts the nail in the coffin for Arsenal as far as I'm concerned. You know, I think that does their dance, and I'm here for that. You know, I'm absolutely here for that. Yeah. And, you know, Arteta's mind games, I just feel like, listen, everyone sees through it now. You told us Saliba was injured, but he was playing today. You know, you cry woe every single week, but your squad is still there. You know,
becoming the most irritating manager in the Premier League. And I actually really wanted him to do well, because I wanted ex-players to do well and young managers to do really well, but it's becoming so irritating with all of these silly samba dancing nonsense that's going on in the ranks. And if I was an Arsenal fan, I'll just be like, listen, Mikel, like, you've done so well. You don't need to do this. Like, come on, don't embarrass us like this, because that's what it is, bringing out the big speakers for the freaking for the Liverpool game, playing You'll Never Walk Alone. It didn't work. Getting pickpocketers to come around and pickpocket your team because you think they need to be more alert. Like, you don't need to do that. You've got really good squad
winners, or
yeah, that's it. The dog called win. Come on, win. Like, it's just, it's embarrassing. And you know, I've I fully respect checkbook manager Pep, and I've always respected Sir Alex for what he's done. But I just think Arteta's now on the verge of, listen, you've done amazing, but stop it with these silly, silly games. Let's talk, I suppose, then, because we are winding down now, Anil. Let's talk about the game then in midweek. PSV. What does the Liverpool lineup look like to you in terms of, we need a point to finish top, because Barcelona obviously had the comeback of epic proportions, not as good as our comeback against them, obviously, or the Istanbul one, but it ranks up there. We need a point to remain top. I don't know whether it matters too much if you finish first or second, because obviously you play the first and second playoffs. What does your lineup look like against PSV?
So for me, I would rest the most important players, but then I wouldn't go too far with it and play like players like Tyler Morton. I'd probably do something like I'll play give people like Endo a get start, Chiesa, one of Diaz Gakpo along with Nunes, and then I'd go something like Elliott, Endo, and Jones. So it'll be more of like the rotational first team players rather than the guaranteed starters. And then I think that would be strong enough as well to do the job. And we could always bring on like Salah off the bench if we really are trying to get that win and make sure we're top. Because I don't think it really matters at the end of the day if you're first or second, because you still got the same kind of route to the final. And so let's say Liverpool, Barca, let's say we came second, Barca first, we can still meet Barca in the final. So it doesn't really matter too much, but yeah.
What's also massive, by the way, sorry, just to cut across you, but what's also massive is that if you finish first or second, you're always guaranteed to play the second leg at home.
Oh, okay. I didn't actually know that. That's interesting. So yeah, I think you do get more money as well, don't you? So I think we are definitely going to be trying to do that, and why not? We try and get the try and break a record or something to say we're the first team to win all 8 Champions League matches. That would be quite nice. But it's not necessary, is it? It's just one of those game for us where it's a good chance for us to rest players. And we've got a really hard game with Bournemouth, so I think it'll make a big difference when we put our best players in that game. And yeah,
I mean, but Barca have to play Atalanta, and they're no shoddy team either. So there's no guarantee that they'll win. But yeah, it is quite funny that we could actually win all of the games in the Champions League, and especially the tagline for this Champions League is that every game matters. Not over Liverpool, we'll just win every game anyway. West. Who are you more worried about next week, Bournemouth or Everton, and why?
I want to sound a bit arrogant, but then the way Bournemouth play, they're a bit open. I think Liverpool can do a job, but I think they're gonna challenge a real team now, try to contend this, try to win it. So I'm not scared of Bournemouth. Everton is a problem to me now, because now it's like it's a derby. David Moyes will stink up the gap, 11 men on the ball. They want to rely on set pieces. So now, Bournemouth game is for me. I think if Liverpool get the first goal like they did today, I think we win the game. Just kick on, press them, beat them. But the Everton game now, it's intense now. It's intense. I'm sure you guys have seen what angry at that game. Also, I was pissed off, to be honest. So now that game for me is a bit tricky, but then I trust the boys to get the job done. I hope the boys are on for it mentally. I hope Nunes starts, because I want to see a centre forward start. This Luis Diaz fantasy needs to stop. Today's game, he didn't have a great game. Of course, he was there, but then the fairy tale needs to stop. Let's play and take him forward, because I think now they're sussing him out. So yeah.
Okay, so going Bournemouth then. I think you could make a case for both games. In fairness, it's the last one at Goodison Park. I think they're both tied on victories as well, so the winner takes all. So yeah, it's going to be such a fascinating week, and I can't wait for it to get underway. I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. This last round then, because as we are winding down, there's nearly 3,500 viewing. So please do give the channel a like and a subscribe as well. Thank you so much for joining us on your Saturday nights. This is my favorite round. It's nothing to do with football. It could be anything you want. Obviously, you can relate it to football. But this is the any other business round, and I ask Stitches, Anil, and West if they do have any other business they want to discuss. We've had movie reviews on here, we've had album reviews, we have had talking about other clubs and other players and transfer window nonsense. You know, we've had absolutely everything. So, you know, Stitches, I'll come to you first because you know this round. Is there any other business for you for this week, or what's been going on in your mind?
Yeah, no, only other business now is hopefully my boy gets a result against Charlton Athletic away tomorrow morning. That's his fixture.
I was going to ask about him. So yeah, how's he doing?
Yeah, they're good. Both doing really well. Triangular last week against Millwall and QPR. Both boys done well. My younger one scored 3 goals and was captain, so that was good.
Nice.
And the older one, yeah, just ran the midfield by all accounts. I wasn't there for that because I do the away games. So tomorrow it's Charlton, local derby. So yeah, hopefully it should be a good game.
Palace?
Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've got one in the under-9s and one in the under-12s.
How's their outfit looking? Are they gonna challenge in the next 10 years, do you reckon?
So it's a weird game in the academy system. You can't think of it like that because the chances of the whole team making it through the process is
100%,
very low.
But compared to other academies, do they sit well?
So it's a really weird thing. I think that both of my boys' years are extremely deep in terms of talent. Let's just put it that way. The Chelsea team in the under-12s is outrageously stacked with talent. Some of them, and I know it's been said that this is probably the best crop of under-12s that they've ever had, like come through the club, because some of those boys are so good. But you know, we compete, and that's the main thing. And then I have to focus on his performance and what he does in the game, and being a centre mid. You know, there's a lot he's got to do in the game. So yeah. And in the under-9s as well, it's a pretty stacked year as well, because at that age you generally get Arsenal and Chelsea with all the superstars or the best players. But sometimes the decision to go to somewhere like Crystal Palace is a better decision because you're gonna, you know, get more time, more touches, you know, more development, which is why we made the decision. So look, we'll see over the next few years, but you know, for the under 12, it's a critical time because he's going from foundation phase to youth phase, which is the business end. So he's got to secure that 2-year contract at the end of the season. Imagine we're talking about that, and we're talking about a 12-year-old. That's how crazy this thing is. You know. Well,
you know, the role in which I'm in education is that you know, I'm fortunate enough to see a lot of the Peterborough United players come through school. Secondary school and upwards, you know, and our under 15s at the moment are absolutely sensational as well. So it's good. All the grassroots are coming through, and that's how it should be, you know. So you're talking about Palace, and you know, I'm talking about Peterborough United, and it seems that, you know, there are good players all across, you know, the grassroots, and that's a really good thing to see. So yeah, I wish him nothing but the best. Anyway, good luck against Charlton tomorrow as well.
Thank you. And if I could just say, there's one last thing. There's a documentary out right now about his journey. It's called Beyond the Techers. You can see that on YouTube. If you Google that, you'll find it, which gives you a bit of insight into, you know, because he broke his leg a few years back, had a double leg break. So his journey back from that is pretty inspiring. So yeah, if you get a chance, check it out. Yeah,
definitely. Yes. Say it again on YouTube. It's called
Beyond the Techers.
There we go.
Techers, TEKKER. Yeah.
Oh, of course. It's like that, of course. Well done. We wish him all the best. Anil?
Cheers.
I was just thinking about, I was just looking at a kit for next season the other day. And I was like, yeah, I'm really excited about the third kit. I think the third kit
is
like
me too.
All-time, yeah, and even the home as well. It's like a proper fallback to the 06 shirt. I think I think it looked really nice as well. So,
I
yeah,
think
I'm
that's
excited.
because that was the last time maybe we had a Adidas with the collar, and I hated the collar. But yeah, that's your Stevie G Dirk Coit kit. That's beautiful. I thought all three of them are sick. Like Stitches
Yeah,
is wearing that kit.
I'm not too sure on the way though. I'm not too sure. I'm not sure about the badge.
Yeah, it's a bit plain. Yeah, it's a bit basic, isn't it? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that third kit for me, that's going in the shopping basket as soon as it happens. Because, like I say, Stitches kit, it's got the old Adidas logo, it's got the old Liverpool logo. It looks absolutely on fire.
Yeah.
Who are you gonna have on your back, Anil?
You know what? I've stopped getting players' names on the back now, but I might get my own name on the back of that. You know, I might get my own name.
What number?
I always go number 8 because of Gerard.
Number 8. Stevie G. Yeah, you can't go too far wrong. I think all of those kits are absolutely beautiful. And I was actually with one of the Peterborough United coaches after school yesterday because we were in a club together, and she asked. She's an Arsenal fan, but she asked why the rim was down there on both sides, and I said I think it's a throwback to the 06 kit and the last time we were with Adidas, but it's just without the collar. But yeah, it looks absolutely sensational. It looks lovely. They've done well. West, any other business?
Nothing much, you know. Like, I was watching the Torino documentary, like where players,
Nice.
the whole team died in some wars. I was watching that. Like, I saw it pop up on TikTok, and I started following it up. Like this year, I'm like maybe last year's stream, I was kind of interested. You guys talking about football, so I was like, I'm deep diving on that, like on the history part of football.
Yeah, good. And how is it? Is it a good watch? Worthy watch?
Yeah, it is. Like it is. Like I was watching on YouTube, people were telling stories that happened and all that. So yeah, interesting. But then another football thing, like I wanted to ask you guys, the Barcelona Benfica game, was that a penalty?
Mm. Yeah, it's one of those.
It could go either way, I think. I'm not sure it was. You know, that's my verdict, but I can see why they might have given it. You know,
I think it goes against you. You're not happy. If it goes against you, you're not happy. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think it goes for you. You're like, yeah, it's a stone waller. If it goes for you, you're like, yeah, it's 100% a penalty. But if it goes against you, like, yeah, it's not great. But I thought Rafinha. How good's Rafinha been?
Yeah, outstanding. He's carrying the team right now, right?
He is. Absolutely.
Yeah. Good player, man.
Doing really well. Right. Thank you all for joining us anyway. We are at 3,500 viewers and we're at 57 minutes. So thanks all for joining us on the Saturday Night Club and the LFC Transfer Room stream. If you haven't already, please do give us a like and a subscribe. I want to say a massive thanks to Stitches and Neil and Wes for making my job so much easier. I've been shuffling about in my seat as well, and that's because I really need a wee. So we are going to end it there before I make a puddle on the floor. So thank you to everybody. It's a massive week for the Reds, and listen, I hope beyond hopes we get 9 points, but you know, I'd be happy with 7, let's say. So we'll see how it goes. As for now, and as always, up the Reds. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Take care, God bless, and we'll see you soon.